Welcome back to the Hannahcast YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be giving you my February Oscar predictions, or at least in terms of the winners. So yeah, this race is easy in some ways, and yet not so easy in other ways. Actually, there's a lot of races that could go so many different directions as is. This is going to be probably my last Oscar predictions until right before the Oscars, but I will still be doing stuff for BAFTAs, SAG, PGA, all that stuff. And let's just start with Best Picture. And even though a lot of people are saying this is a done deal, I don't want to say it's a done deal. Because right now, I don't know. Right now, Oppenheimer is the frontrunner. It got 13 nominations. It won drama at the Golden Globes, which was kind of expected. And it won Critics' Choice for Best Picture. Alright, drama at the Golden Globes, that's expected. Admittedly, Critics' Choice was a bit of a surprise because I thought maybe they were going to go with Barbie because, they nominated Barbie for, 18 Critics' Choice Awards. That smashed the record. And yet, even they did not go for Barbie in Best Picture. And it kind of signaled to me that Barbie was going to be a movie that was going to get a lot of nominations, but not a lot of wins. Now, granted, I still think Barbie is going to win at least 3 Oscars here at the Oscars. I don't know why I said Oscars again, but whatever. But it showed that Barbie's not really going to win anything. It's not, at least not Best Picture. It's not going to win Best Picture, I should say. And the Best Picture race is really tough because, unlike last year, we just cannot rely at all on the Writers Guild of America awards. We can't do that. And the reason why that is problematic is because Writers Guild has kind of called some of these races before. Just a couple of years ago, they called Coda. They helped call Coda in winning Best Picture because Coda ended up winning Adapted Screenplay there. Now, Coda also won the BAFTA for Adapted Screenplay out of nowhere, but again, that is worth noting. The Writers Guild also showed that Everything Everywhere All at Once was going to win Original Screenplay, which I already kind of knew, but it was kind of just confirmation. And it also showed that Women Talking was going to win an Adapted Screenplay. And then, but I'll back onto the Best Picture thing. Writers Guild also kind of called Moonlight, because Moonlight at the Writers Guild was nominated for Original Screenplay, and it beat La La Land and the eventual Oscar winner, Manchester by the Sea, where in the Oscars, Moonlight was adapted. So it kind of showed if Moonlight was strong enough to take down La La Land and Manchester by the Sea in Original Screenplay, then in Adapted Screenplay, it was going to win, easily. So, it's kind of tough, because, again, if there is a number 2, I would say it's The Holdovers. And I know people are panicking, because, what? But, Dominic says it didn't get nominated, and the movie didn't get a director nomination. It's, we've seen the Oscars give movies Best Picture without director before. They did it with Argo, which granted, Ben Affleck was sweeping everywhere else, but, Green Book managed to win Best Picture without the director, and Coda managed to win Best Picture without director. And I would say The Holdovers has a better chance of winning Best Picture than Coda did. At least when you look at just the nominations in general, because The Holdovers still got an editing nomination. So it's not like it's unfathomable. And if The Holdovers wants to win Best Picture, it would need to win Screenplay and Supporting Actress, which Supporting Actress is a done deal. That's easily happening. But Original Screenplay is going to be tough because we can't use the Writers Guild, and we kind of figure The Holdovers is going to be nominated at the Writers Guild. So, if it can win Original Screenplay at BAFTA over the likes of Anatomy of a Fall, then I think it's on track to win Best Picture. Because, especially at BAFTA, it performed pretty well at BAFTA. Like, I was one of the few people who correctly guessed that The Holdovers was going to get Best Picture or Best Film at BAFTA over Barbie. Like, I didn't get a full 5 out of 5 because I thought The Zone of Interest was going to get in. But granted, most people thought The Zone of Interest was going to get in at BAFTA. But I did correctly guess that The Holdovers was going to get Best Picture or Best Film at BAFTA over Barbie, and it managed to get quite a few nominations. Again, it got director. Dominic Sessa still got nominated there. So, again, it really is tough. Like, it, like, can't, like, is The Holdovers really going to win Best Original Screenplay at the BAFTAs? Because I will say, if it doesn't win Original Screenplay at the BAFTAs, then I don't think it's winning the Oscar. Because again, we can't turn to the Writers Guild Awards. We can't do that. And we can't really turn to Critics' Choice either for two reasons. One, the Critics' Choice Awards are in general very hit or miss in terms of their screenplay wins. Like, sure, Everything Everywhere All at Once and Women Talking won last year, and that correlated with BAFTA. No, that correlated with the Oscars, I should say. But it doesn't really happen a lot either. Like, it's like let's look at the previous year. Belfast won original screenplay at the Critics' Choice, and that repeated at the Oscars. But adapted screenplay, Critics' Choice gave it to The Power of the Dog, but the Oscars gave it to Coda. Then before that, they did match with original screenplay in Promising Young Woman, but they kind of split off where adapted screenplay at the Critics' Choice went to Nomadland, but the Oscars gave it to The Father. Then the year before that, it was completely different. Original screenplay at Critics' Choice went to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. At the Oscars, it went to Parasite. Adapted screenplay, Critics' Choice, Little Women. The Oscars, Jojo Rabbit. Then the year before that, First Reformed won original screenplay at Critics' Choice, but at the Oscars, it went to Green Book. And with adapted screenplay, If Beale Street Could Talk won at Critics' Choice, but it was Black Klansman that won the Oscar. So they are very hit or miss. And I will say the previous year, it was original screenplay and adapted screenplay both matched with Get Out and what was it called? Call Me by Your Name. But again, that just speaks to my point. They are very hit or miss. And that's the one problem with the screenplay categories this year at the Critics' Choice. The other problem is that Barbie won original screenplay at Critics' Choice. It won original screenplay, whereas at the Oscars, it's nominated in adapted screenplay. So really, original screenplay at the Critics' Choice isn't really helping us out here. The only major original screenplay winner that we have is Anatomy of a Fall, and that won at the Golden Globes. But is that going to repeat at BAFTA? If it repeats at BAFTA and The Holdovers actually doesn't win original screenplay and they do just fall in line with Anatomy of a Fall, then I will say The Holdovers is not winning Best Picture. Because I feel like it needs it absolutely needs a screenplay win here. It needs a screenplay win to win Best Picture. Because that's a pretty good stat. Like, you need Best Picture, to win Best Picture, you need either director or screenplay in order to win. Now, an acting award definitely does help, but you just need director or screenplay. And that's really what The Holdovers kind of needs. If it does manage to get original screenplay, then I do think it is on track to win Best Picture. I mean, or at the very least, it can. It's actually feasible to win. Which is what makes deciding here so tough, because am I going to go with what I think is the front runner right now, or am I going to go with a theoretical that The Holdovers will win an original screenplay at BAFTA? Because the other thing to consider is adapted screenplay and the Producers Guild Awards. That's another thing to consider. The Producers Guild Awards is going to be really interesting because that actually does have a preferential ballot. Like, the voters actually do use a preferential ballot for choosing the winners at PGA. And is Oppenheimer going to prevail on a preferential ballot? That is interesting. And also another thing to point out that I forgot to mention was that The Holdovers didn't even win Best Picture, Musical, or Comedy at the Golden Globes. It went to Poor Things. But again, will that repeat? Because because what people thought was going to win Original Screenplay at the Oscars that year was The Favorite. But that lost the Golden Globe for Comedy Musical Picture to Green Book. So it's like, you see what I'm getting at? It's like The Holdovers and Green Book are similar in ways, at least in terms of stats, not the movie itself, but it's like, they're similar in some areas of stats, but also not similar, because Green Book did win. Actually, yeah, Green Book won 3 Golden Globes. It won Supporting Actor, Best Screenplay, and Best Picture, Musical, or Comedy. The Holdovers won 2. That's Best Actor in a Musical or Comedy for Paul Giamatti, and Best Actress, Supporting Actress, I should say. And it didn't even get nominated for Screenplay at the Golden Globes. But again, I don't know. Now, there is Adapted Screenplay to look at as well, because is Oppenheimer going to win Adapted Screenplay? And I'll probably try to get to this a little bit later, but it's like, if Oppenheimer doesn't win Adapted Screenplay, that could show some weakness. But again, we just don't know. And again, we don't have the Writers Guild. And the fact that we don't have the Writers Guild to point us in a certain direction, that makes me think, because do we really think the BAFTAs are going to vote for American Fiction for Adapted Screenplay? And do we really think for Original Screenplay they're going to vote for Barbie? Because those are the movies that people are saying, oh yeah, those movies are going to beat Oppenheimer at the Oscars for Adapted Screenplay. But it's like, they're BAFTA is the last televised screenplay, award we have. Because again, we just can't rely on Writers Guild right now. And again, do we think either American Fiction is winning Adapted Screenplay at BAFTA or Barbie is winning Original Screenplay at BAFTA? I don't think so. The biggest challenge Oppenheimer has for Best Adapted Screenplay at the BAFTAs is Poor Things. And I don't know if it's going to lose to Poor Things. God, because even at BAFTA, I don't even know if I can compare Poor Things to The Favorite, because even Poor Things missed out on Supporting Actor. So what is the vibe? What are they doing with Poor Things? Because I think that it tied with The Favorite for nominations, but it's also what's its win potential? And I have to assume maybe at BAFTA, the Oscar, Oppenheimer's just going to win Adapted Screenplay over at the BAFTAs. So it's tough. So God, see why this is really hard. It's trying to figure out there is a path for The Holdovers to win Best Picture, but however, what is that path? Because I don't know. Again, it's because it's not a Green Book situation, because there are still so many things that are different from it in Green Book. Yet there are many things that are similar to it with Green Book. At least again in terms of the path to win Best Picture. So it's tough. But at the same time, I was talking about how Holdovers was going to do well on a preferential ballot, but people have still not shut up about Oppenheimer. People still love Oppenheimer. It made nearly $1 billion at the box office. People are raving about it even after nominations. No one was complaining about Oppenheimer's nomination package that it got. Whereas with something like Barbie, people were like, what? Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie missed? And there's been that whole debacle. American Fiction overperformed. It was like, whoa, American Fiction, that movie overperformed. Zone of Interest. It's oh my God, it missed so many tech categories. Anatomy of a Fall. It's like, whoa, we got director. It's everything kind of has that thing where it's wait, what? This happened to it with the nominations, whereas with Oppenheimer, it got everything it was kind of expected to get. So, and So is that actually going to reflect on the preferential ballot? Is it still going to perform very well? Because again, people really love Oppenheimer, and it came out pretty unscathed during the nominations. So I don't know. Like people do really seem excited for Oppenheimer. I do think it is a race between the holdovers and Oppenheimer. And while I will be willing to switch it, like once we see what BAFTA and PGA does, or if, and then there's also another thing I forgot to point out. What if Paul Giamatti wins Best Lead Actor? Because at that point, like, the holdovers will have won two acting awards, two acting Oscars, and yet not winning Best Picture. Not only not winning Best Picture, but also, like, if it wins Screenplay, Lead Actor, and Supporting Actress, it's absolutely winning Best Picture at that point. It's absolutely, like, it's absolutely winning Best Picture. But again, that depends on what happens. Like, what do the BAFTAs do? I'm not gonna assume, like, again, we'll talk about the acting categories in a little bit. That's the thing. I don't know if Paul Giamatti is going to win Best Lead Actor. Because again, like, I don't, it is, God, it is tough. I'm just trying to pull out the different scenarios in which the holdovers could win Best Picture. It doesn't need Paul Giamatti to win Best Picture, but if it manages to get Supporting Actress, Original Screenplay, and it's looking like Paul Giamatti's winning the Oscar, then yeah, it's absolutely winning Best Picture. But it's tough. It is really, really tough. So, right now, again, I'm like, keep in mind, this is not a fully confident pick. In terms of my predictions, I'm not confident in this because it could definitely change. Right now, I'll stick with Oppenheimer because it still has some strength. It still has a lot of momentum. It didn't miss a beat in terms of nominations, and it's not like Roma or The Power of the Dog where people kind of got bored of it. Like, no, people were excited to see this movie and are still excited over this movie, and we still see a bunch of clips online being posted where it's like, oh my god, this scene in Oppenheimer is so amazing. So it's like, I don't know. Right now, I'm going to say Oppenheimer's not really going to lose any steam, but it could. Again, we'll have to see how the holdovers performs at BAFTA and PGA and SAG. Especially at BAFTA. I feel like BAFTA is going to be a big sign. If it can win Original Screenplay at BAFTA, Paul Giamatti doesn't even have to win Lead Actor. If it just wins, like, Supporting Actress and Original Screenplay, then I will probably begin to predict that the holdovers is winning the Best Picture Oscar. Because, again, we don't, like, for all we know, yeah, sure, maybe Barbie would win at the Writers Guild, maybe, who knows. But we can't use Writers Guild, so we don't really know. So yeah. Now we get to director. This, unlike Best Picture, is easy. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, Christopher Nolan. He is winning this. He should be winning this. He should have multiple Oscars by now. But whatever. This night is going to make me happy, and this might end up being my favorite Oscar win ever. So, yeah, I don't, like, even if Oppenheimer loses Best Picture, which could happen, it's not an impossibility. But even if it were to lose Best Picture, Christopher Nolan would still win director. Like, he's just too strong to lose at this point. This would have to be one of the biggest shocks in Oscar history if he managed to not win. So, yeah. Actress in a leading role. All right, now we're back to some complicatedness, because, oh my god. Whew. Lily Gladstone versus Emma Stone. Who's winning this? Once again, it's not as easy. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, it's easily Emma Stone. It's never over. Never say it's over. Because we thought Cate Blanchett was over. Like, we thought, all right, she won the Drama Golden Globe, and she won Critics' Choice, and she won BAFTA. Or at the very least, up until now, we were saying it's over. Cate Blanchett, she won Critics' Choice, even though we thought the Critics' Choice were going to go for Michelle Yeoh. So Cate Blanchett's going to win her third Oscar. And then SAG came around and changed everything, where Michelle Yeoh ended up winning. Now, granted, Michelle Yeoh was nominated Michelle Yeoh was in the Best Picture frontrunner. But none of these actresses seem to be that. None of them, I think, are even in the number 2 slot. Because again, Holdovers, I feel like, is number 2. But who will win, Emma Stone or Lily Gladstone? Now, what makes this especially problematic is that Lily Gladstone is not nominated at BAFTA, which is completely bizarre to me how that even happened. Because, like, the jury couldn't even save her. But at the same time, how weak was Killers of the Flower Moon as a whole? Because Killers of the Flower Moon did not, at the BAFTAs, did not get lead actor or director, but again, juried categories, sure. But the movie also did not get adapted screenplay at the BAFTAs. It didn't even get that. And not even here at the Oscars. So, was it really that Lily Gladstone was weak? Or was it that Killers of the Flower Moon as a whole was weak? But at the same time, does that hurt Lily Gladstone? I don't, like, maybe a little. But then again, I don't know. It's just tough. Because Emma Stone winning for Poor Things, again, that could happen. And she might even take BAFTA. Unless Sandra Hüller wins BAFTA. See, this is where the race is going to become really, really interesting. Because is Emma Stone going to win BAFTA? Or, like, because, like, there's so many combinations in which could result in completely different winners. Although I still think it's either going to be Lily Gladstone or Emma Stone. Is Emma Stone really going to win at the BAFTAs for Poor Things? Or will they go for Anatomy of a Fall? Because Anatomy of a Fall did perform very well at the BAFTAs, even getting director and best film. So, like, if Sandra Hüller wins, that will be a knock against Emma Stone, because again, Emma Stone was expected to kind of win at BAFTA, but again, it's tough. It is tough. And then there's SAG, which is a big deciding factor. If Emma Stone wins SAG, it's over. It's officially over. Even if Sandra Hüller won the BAFTA and Emma Stone won SAG, like, it's over. Emma Stone's winning her second Oscar. Congratulations. But if Lily Gladstone wins SAG, oh boy, that's going to be a race. And again, because if Lily Gladstone wins SAG, if Lily Gladstone wins SAG, I think she is winning the Oscar. But her chances of winning the Oscar are going to be interesting depending on who, are going to vary depending on who wins BAFTA. Because if Emma Stone wins BAFTA, and Lily Gladstone wins SAG, then I think Lily Gladstone is still winning the Oscar, but it's not easy. It's not going to be an easy win, because Emma Stone maybe could take it. But if Sandra Hüller ended up beating Emma Stone for the BAFTA, and Lily Gladstone won SAG, well then I think Lily Gladstone is easily winning SAG. Because if Emma Stone can't even win at BAFTA, where they really loved Poor Things, then I don't think she would stand a chance to win the Oscar. And then there is also another thing to consider, which is the speeches. Like, when Emma Stone beat Lily Gladstone at the Critics' Choice, she looked like she didn't really want to be up there all that much. She was like, "Oh, Lily, you're so amazing in this movie." And it's like, that sounds an awful lot like Cate Blanchett last year, who, when accepting the awards, wasn't really all that thrilled to be winning the awards. And what happened whenever Michelle Yeoh gave one of those speeches? Well, she moved the audience. Her words really left an impact on the people watching. And the same thing could be said with Brendan Fraser versus Austin Butler. You know, when, like, Austin Butler, granted, he wasn't really all like, "Oh, Brendan, you should be up here," but his speeches weren't really all that memorable. Whereas Brendan Fraser, I mean, good God, he was crying on stage so much. And then you have this year, Emma Stone, she's winning awards. It's like, oh yeah, Emma Stone, but you know, she, like, it didn't really feel like a lot was. It didn't really feel like anything. Whereas with, when Lily Gladstone won the Golden Globe drama, their speech was very moving. Now, granted, I'm not saying it comes down to a speech, whether like you give the best speech, you win the Oscar, but it does linger in voters' minds because again, we've seen it before. But again, it is tough because neither of these two are in a Best Picture frontrunner film. And there is one thing to also maybe consider, in that Lily Gladstone, is in a movie that got 3 SAG nominations, including SAG Ensemble, and Emma Stone, in Poor Things missed SAG Ensemble. So it's like the actors seem to really like Killers of the Flower Moon, but again, does that really matter? Because, again, let's look at what was it? But that, God, it is tough. God, because Jessica Chastain managed to beat Lady Gaga, despite the fact that Lady Gaga was in a SAG Ensemble film. But at the same time, no one really expected House of Gucci to make it to Best Picture. God, it is tough. Right now, I'm following the logic that either Sandra Hüller or Emma Stone wins BAFTA, and Lily Gladstone wins SAG, and I feel like that would be enough to push them into the best actress win. So I will right now go for Lily Gladstone. But again, BAFTA and SAG are going to be really crucial. It's not going to be an easy race. But again, if Emma Stone doesn't win the BAFTA and it's Sandra Hüller, and Lily Gladstone does win SAG, well then, yeah, it is an easy race. Because it's like, if Emma Stone couldn't even win at the BAFTAs where they really loved Poor Things, but at the same, because the other thing to consider is that not only are Poor Things or Killers of the Flower Moon not really going to win Best Picture, they're also pretty much only going to either win 1 Oscar or 0. Because I think Poor Things and Killers of the Flower Moon, one of them's going to win lead actress, and that's going to be their only win. It just depends on who it's going to be. So right now I will go for Lily Gladstone, but again, oh boy, this race is tight. It is tight. Lead actor, once again, another interesting race. I thought Bradley Cooper was going to be the one winning, and we'll have to see what BAFTA and SAG do, but I don't think he's going to win there. So really, it's because Cillian Murphy won the Golden Globe drama for Oppenheimer, and Paul Giamatti not only won the Golden Globe musical or comedy for The Holdovers, which was expected, he also won Best Actor at Critics' Choice, which was okay. It just got serious. And I will, again, as I said before, if Paul Giamatti wins Best Actor, I don't see how you could not give The Holdovers Best Original Screenplay and not go on to give it Best Picture. Because that, a combination of supporting actor of supporting actress and lead actor is already strong enough, but screenplay? How is that not a combo to get Best Picture? How is it not? But then there's also Cillian Murphy, and he's performing better than I thought he would. Because I thought Bradley Cooper was going to take the drama globe. I thought he was going to take drama. But they just seem to love Cillian Murphy, and they seem to just love Oppenheimer. And it just shows that Cillian Murphy is not too subtle to win the Oscar. He's not. The camera's always on his face, so you can see every minute expression. I think it would also be very helpful in deciding who's winning Best Picture between Oppenheimer and The Holdovers, because Cillian Murphy winning lead actor for Oppenheimer would be very strong. And let's go over some of the possible, outcomes that this could happen. All right. So right now, Paul Giamatti has the most major precursors with Golden Globe musical or comedy and Critics' Choice, whereas Cillian Murphy just has the Golden Globe drama. But who's going to win BAFTA? I think Cillian Murphy would probably win the BAFTA. Unless they want to go really insane, which, God, don't even get me started on that. That's going to be chaotic. But right now I'm saying Cillian Murphy wins the BAFTA. And I would still say maybe at SAG, Cillian Murphy wins. Although if Paul Giamatti actually won there, because then that's going to be like, but it also depends on who's winning original screenplay. Like, does The Holdovers actually win original screenplay at the BAFTAs? I don't know. If it does, that, even like, if Cillian Murphy wins lead actor at BAFTA, and The Holdovers wins original screenplay at the BAFTAs, and then Paul Giamatti wins SAG for lead actor, again, I think that's looking pretty good that The Holdovers is winning Best Picture. If Paul Giamatti won BAFTA, okay, well then, oh my god. Like, see, I'm getting my head wrapped up in so many scenarios. Is there any path for Bradley Cooper to win the Oscar? Maybe? If he started to win BAFTA and SAG, that would be kind of nuts. But is it really going to happen? Is it going to play out that way? I don't know. I just don't think Maestro's winning anything, except maybe makeup, but even then, that's kind of a maybe scenario. Right now, I'm going with the assumption that the Oppenheimer's hype isn't going to die down, so I'm going with Cillian Murphy. I think Cillian Murphy's going to win lead actor. But again, watch out for Paul Giamatti. Oh, because if he starts winning some major places, then I think that says a lot about what's going to happen in Best Picture. Supporting actress. Luckily, this is an easy category that we don't have to think about. It's Divine Joy Randolph in The Holdovers. Again, I feel like she alone, along with original screenplay, is all The Holdovers would need to win Best Picture. I was maybe expecting Ryan Gosling to pose a threat at Critics' Choice, but nope, they just went with Robert Downey Jr. Again, oh my god, but what if Ryan Gosling won the Golden Globe? No, not the Golden Globe, but the SAG. But I think even if Ryan Gosling won SAG, I still wouldn't go for him in supporting actor in terms of predictions, because it's like, because that would show a late surge for Barbie. And I just don't think that's winning Best Picture, because it's certainly not winning screenplay at the BAFTAs. But I think it's just going to be Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr., I think he's just going to sweep it. So I think it's just his year. So, yeah. Original screenplay. Oh my god, this is where it gets hard. It's tough between Anatomy of a Fall and The Holdovers. And I was just explaining why this was difficult. Anatomy of a Fall won the Golden Globe in a big shock. I thought that was the least likely film to win original screenplay. It's just screenplay at the Golden Globes. What am I thinking? I thought Anatomy of a Fall was the least likely film to win, and then sure enough, it actually ended up winning the Globe. Now, what happens at BAFTA? Because I feel like BAFTA is the last place for Holdovers if it wants to win. Now, did I say that if Divine Joy Randolph wins supporting actress and The Holdovers wins original screenplay, then I would predict it for Best Picture automatically? I'm not. If I did say that, maybe I was being a little bit too enthusiastic. I don't know. God, now that I have to look at it, it's like, is Anatomy of a Fall really winning original screenplay, or is it just going to be The Holdovers? That is tough. Because I suppose The Holdovers could win original screenplay without winning the Oscar. I guess it really would just come down to SAG and or PGA. Maybe more so PGA. Like, if PGA actually just went for the holdover. Like, if The Holdovers won original screenplay at BAFTA and it won PGA, then The Holdovers is so winning Best Picture at the Oscars. It would so be winning. But I guess I wouldn't need to win Best Picture if it wants to win original screenplay. Because it could just win original screenplay and just be that. I might say The Holdovers is winning original screenplay. right now. I might say that because it probably does not need to win Best Picture if it wants to. If it's winning original screenplay, like it could just pull like a Get Out and just win original screenplay. And some other movies have done that as well. Even though, granted, you know, I am at least expecting an acting award for The Holdovers, which would be supporting actress. So yeah, I will probably go for The Holdovers here. So yeah, and now adapted screenplay. Oh wow, this is tough because there are so much. Really, like the only one I just don't think is winning is The Zone of Interest. That's really because like any number of these movies could maybe win. Because we got American Fiction, which won adapted screenplay at the Critics' Choice Awards. That's kind of big, but at the same time, as we've said, the Critics' Choice Awards can be very hit or miss. So do we really think that's happening? I don't know. Barbie won original screenplay at the Critics' Choice Awards, but it is adapted here where it's way more competitive. And is it real? And then you have Oppenheimer, which is the big tech juggernaut. Not even just the big tech. It is just the big juggernaut. It is the Oscar juggernaut here. And then you have Poor Things, which hasn't really won a screenplay so far. It did win musical comedy picture at the Golden Globes, but it didn't even win screenplay. Anatomy of a Fall beat it. Once again, it comes down to BAFTA. I feel like I think the Oscars are just going to do what the BAFTAs did, or whatever the BAFTAs are going to do this year in terms of screenplay. Because we don't have Writers Guild to look to. And if we don't have Writers Guild, that's not really gonna, that's just not helping. That's just not helping us. Because if Writers Guild was here, then maybe American Fiction would win adapted screenplay, and then maybe it could win the Oscar. Because here's the thing I want to pose a question to. Would Women Talking have won the Oscar? Would Women Talking have won the Oscar for adapted screenplay if it wasn't for the Writers Guild? I don't know. Because the thing is, it all depends on, I think what a lot of things can come down to momentum. Like, what is the momentum like for a category or a movie or something like that? And All Quiet on the Western Front performed very well at BAFTA, winning picture, director, even adapted screenplay. It won adapted screenplay. So, is it going to, and considering how well All Quiet performed at BAFTA, if the Writers Guild Awards didn't, because those are some other things to put into consideration as well. Because, Women Talking was not even nominated at BAFTA. The BAFTAs hated Women Talking that much. So, if it wasn't for Writers Guild, would Women Talking have still won the Oscar? Because, again, yeah, it did win Critics' Choice. But, again, as I said before, the Critics' Choice Awards are very, very hit or miss when it comes to the screenplay categories. Sometimes they will get one right, sometimes they'll get both right, but then a lot of times they won't get them right. And it's just kind of chaotic. And so with that in mind, yeah, American Fiction and Barbie won screenplay awards at Critics' Choice, but are they going to win at the BAFTAs? Because, again, we don't have Writers Guild, so that can't tell us anything. The BAFTAs will be the last major precursor for screenplay up to the Oscars. And do we think the BAFTAs, of all people, are going to go for American Fiction in adapted screenplay? No, they're not going to. So then that kind of leaves us with Oppenheimer and Poor Things. And the fact of the matter is, I'm kind of already predicting, I think what it comes down to, and what it might come down to here, is that I'm already predicting Oppenheimer for a ton of awards. A ton of them. And yet, screenplay would not come along with it? I feel like, because it's just so big, it might just win. I think, because, Poor Things, I don't think it's going to win Best Film at BAFTA. hell, there might even be a chance it doesn't win as many awards as The Favorite did, because how many awards did The Favorite win? The Favorite won 7 awards at BAFTA. It won Best Actress, Lead Actress, Supporting Actress, Original Screenplay, Outstanding British Film, Production Design, Costume Design, Makeup and Hair. That's 7. 7 awards. Poor Things? What am I thinking it wins? Well, considering it got nominated for Best Film over The Zone of Interest, it's probably winning Outstanding British Film. And considering it didn't get nominated for the Oscar, is Poor Things really winning visual effects? I don't think so. It's probably going to win Costume Design, Production Design, maybe Lead Actress. And if they really want to go nuts, maybe Makeup and Hair. But that's like already a weaker showing. And like, even if we take out the like original screenplay at for The Favorite, that's still 6 awards, and that's 5 awards for The Favorite. No, 6 awards for The Favorite, 5 awards for Poor Things. I can't speak today. God, this is what happens when you work by yourself. So with that in mind, Poor Things is going to be a weaker movie than The Favorite was. A movie that didn't even win Best Film at BAFTA that year, because they went with Roma. So we're talking about The Favorite, which won 7 awards, none of them being Best Film, and we have a film in Poor Things that not only is looking like it's going to win less awards, but didn't even get director? I think that says a lot about how possibly weaker Poor Things is. Because then there's another thing to consider. Because, like, yeah, The Banshees of Inisherin didn't win as much BAFTAs as 3 Billboards did. But at the same time, in screenplay, it did not have to compete with All Quiet on the Western Front. And considering how big All Quiet on the Western Front is, would The Banshees of Inisherin beat All Quiet for screenplay if they were competing with one another? And that's an interesting question to have. And I don't fully know the answer to that. But Oppenheimer is such a huge, huge contender. And the BAFTAs really loved Oppenheimer. And again, with Poor Things, they didn't. Its win package is not going to look not going to look all that great compared to The Favorite. So, and even Lead Actress is still up in the air, because maybe Sandra Hüller takes it. Who knows? So right now, I will say Oppenheimer wins the BAFTA for Adapted Screenplay, which means I do think Oppenheimer will win the Oscar. Because Oppenheimer is just such a huge, huge contender. And right now, I'm already predicting Oppenheimer to win 8 Oscars, or 8 other Oscars. And it would be kind of weird for Adapted Screenplay to not come along with that, especially considering it is a very, like, righty movie. It is it definitely is, direction driven, but it's equally, like, screenplay driven as well. The screenplay is very innovative in its storytelling and unique, and it stands out. Is Poor Things really gonna try to beat something like that? And I know some people will say, well, the Oscars like to spread the love. Sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't. They sometimes don't like to spread the love all that much. They didn't like to spread the love for Everything Everywhere All at Once. They didn't really spread the love for Parasite. They didn't really spread the love for, they didn't really spread the love for Birdman, so is it really good? And if Ben Affleck was nominated for Best Director at the Oscars, would that mean we would still have a movie that won Picture, Director, and Adapted Screenplay? That's all things to consider. So, yeah, sometimes the Oscars like to spread the love, but usually when they spread the love, it's for years when there isn't a clear frontrunner, or like a big clear, like, juggernaut. And right now, like, there's not, I feel like Oppenheimer would just be too big for that. Unless, again, it started to show weakness in Best Picture. And I'm not saying it's over if, like, Poor Things beats it for Adapted Screenplay, but it would be a sign. It would be a sign. I think it could be a sign for things to come. But right now, I will say Oppenheimer takes adapted screenplay because it's just too big. It's just too big of a film. Like, yes, Christopher Nolan is guaranteed to win director, but they might just love Oppenheimer that much. Cinematography. All right, once again, this is where we get to a few easy categories. It's Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer's just going to take it all the way with this, so I don't really see what could possibly happen. What even is number 2? Is it Maestro? Is it Killers of the Flower Moon? I don't know. So, yeah. Like, especially, like, there's not really a number, I don't know what would possibly be number 2 for cinematography right now, so yeah. Film editing. Once again, Oppenheimer. I mean, like, again, it's the most showy editing. Now, at BAFTA, actually, what was nominated for editing at BAFTA? Oh, okay, this is going to be interesting for BAFTA because there's no racing movies. There's no racing movies for best editing at the BAFTAs, so you could, but then again, there was also no racing movies for when 2020 when Sound of Metal won. Or 2018 when Vice won. All right, so yeah. But yeah, Oppenheimer, at this point, like, if there's no racing movies at BAFTA, then it's just going to be a clean sweep for Oppenheimer. It's just winning editing. Production design. This is a little bit of a race. Like, I do think Poor Things will put up a little bit of a fight at BAFTA, but ultimately, I do think Barbie will win the Oscar. I feel like Barbie's at least going to win at least win 3 Oscars. And I think this would be one of them. Production design. They created Barbie Land, and it looks incredible. It's so well detailed, and it's simple yet detailed at the same time. Costume design. Once again, Poor Things I think will win the BAFTA, but Barbie, I think it just wins the Oscar because it's just, I just think it's too strong for that. And again, it won production design and costume design at BAFTA. That's a pretty good combo. So yeah. Makeup and hairstyling. All right, this is interesting because right now we don't really have a front runner because the first indicator we have was Critics' Choice, and they voted for Barbie, which didn't even get shortlisted. So what now? What do we do? Because Poor Things is a much stronger contender than Maestro, but Maestro also just has the more transformative makeup. So, yeah. And really, at the BAFTAs, the only ones that were nominated were Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things, to my knowledge. So, what now? What do we do here? Because, God, I want to say maybe, I want to say Maestro is winning, and it might. But again, what does BAFTA do? Will the BAFTAs go for Poor Things? Because they went for the favorite they went for the favorite, but at the same time, that was also a film that did not even get nominated for the Oscar. So it's like, all right, well, we know Vice is winning. Ooh. But because they really did love, but then again, as I said before, the favorite is already looking like to be a stronger contender than Poor Things was, at least in terms of the BAFTAs. So I think maybe Maestro will win but then again, it's not, I guess even with BAFTA, it wouldn't be over because The Whale still managed to win Best Makeup and Hairstyling at the Oscars by just winning the Special Effects Makeup Award at the Makeup and Hairstylist Guild. But at the same time, what is the Makeup and Hairstylist Guild going to do? Because they seem to really, really, really love Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, even though it wasn't even shortlisted at the Oscars. See, this is, the shortlists this year were so chaotic and honestly kind of unfair because, Guardians 3 should have been winning this. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 should have won. And yet, it didn't even get shortlisted. So what's going to happen? I think they'll do Maestro because it just makes the most sense in this category. But I don't know. Will they go for Poor Things? Maybe. I don't know. Cause I don't think Golda's gonna do it, and I don't think. Oh my God! If Oppenheimer won, that wouldn't really be. I would not like that. But oh my God. Because right now I'm sensing Oppenheimer wins 9 Oscars. Again, I said 8 other Oscars before, but that was not including adapted screenplay, which I am putting in. So 9 Oscars. Because that also does beg the question, is there a path for Oppenheimer to win 11 Oscars? And maybe it could. And makeup would be one of them. I mean, especially if Cillian Murphy's winning lead actor, they like to pair up the makeup Oscar with the lead acting Oscar, or an acting Oscar in general. So they might if they and what would be the other likely pick? Well, I guess if they really wanted to go nuts, they could maybe go for production design, or if costumes happened, oh my god! But I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking this. But I think Maestro wins. Although if Oppenheimer started to show some big strength, I'd be like, oh, what? Like if it looked like Oppenheimer was going to win here, then I would say it's not only winning Best Picture, but oh my god, it's there's a chance it could either tie the record for the most Oscar wins ever, or it could break the record. But that would be insane. That would be an insane amount of strength that I thought we would never see again. Because Oppenheimer, I think, would actually be winning 10 Oscars if sound mixing and sound editing weren't, combined. Which I still hated that decision. Visual effects. Oh god, another hard one to do, because this category has been fucked so badly. I don't know what's happening anymore. Every time there's a potential frontrunner, it goes, eh. Because Dune Part 2 was going to win. We knew that was just winning. And then Warner Brothers, for some reason, decided to delay it. I'm just why? And so it's alright, well, we still probably have Little Mermaid and stuff. And then Little Mermaid ended up not even making the top 20. What? Oppenheimer also managed to not make the top 20, but granted, I didn't think I'd be right that soon, but I knew Oppenheimer was not going to get a visual effects nomination. I just knew it wasn't. There was actually this new video by Quarter Crew that I want you guys to check out, and they talk about why the nuclear explosion in Oppenheimer was a bit underwhelming and why it doesn't really look like a nuke. And I've been saying that for a long time. I've been saying, I've seen visual effects artists criticize the nuke in Oppenheimer in that it doesn't look like a nuclear blast. It looks like a gasoline explosion, which is not very destructive. All it is just liquid turning into gas. Whereas with a nuke, it's actually powerful and has destructive qualities to it. But regardless, then the short list came around, and it's okay, well, Society of the Snow and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, I think they're going to get in. And I think they would be the frontrunners to win. And I was suspecting Society of the Snow was going to win because, well, I feel like Society of the Snow was going to perform better in terms of nominations than Spider-Verse. And then neither got nominated. I'm less upset about Society of the Snow because, admittedly, I didn't want that to win visual effects. But Spider-Verse? That was one of the most groundbreaking animated films of a very, very long time. It surpassed what even the first film was able to do visually. And animation is a visual effect. So it's I don't understand this. But without Spider-Verse, now we have no clear front. Without Spider-Verse or Society of the Snow, there is no clear frontrunner. Literally okay. So much of this could happen. So many of these options could absolutely happen, and I don't know what in the world is going on. Let's check out Gold Derby for a second, alright? Let's check out Gold Derby. They think Godzilla Minus One is winning Best Visual Effects. I don't know about that, though. I don't know about Godzilla Minus One. Because, look, and this is an unpopular opinion, I don't think the effects in Godzilla Minus One are all that amazing. Sometimes they are. There's that scene where, they're in the boat, trying to get away from Godzilla, and he's, in the water. That looked incredible. But then there's other points of the film where, yeah, it looks like it was done for a budget of less than $15 million. So, I feel like they would, again, the effects in Godzilla Minus One are just not that great, in my opinion. And I feel like people are only wanting to nominate it because it's such a great movie and because, like, the story behind it, but it's not really based on merit at all. Because, like, 2014's Godzilla, yeah, it had a significantly larger budget, but it also looked way better than this. And it came out nearly 10 years ago. Whereas like Godzilla Minus One, it kind of looks like a movie that was made for less than $15 million at points. Again, at points, there are scenes that make it look absolutely astonishing for the budget that it had. Again, that scene in the water, or that scene where like the lady is in the train while Godzilla has the train in its mouth and she's hanging on to something. Like that stuff does look incredible. But it's just like the hit or miss nature of the effects in that film. It's like, eh. But again, should I apply that logic to the Oscars? Because I don't know. Because I think out of all these movies, Godzilla Minus One is the most critically acclaimed. But a stat you want to have is what is winning Best Picture? Or at the very least, like which of the films is either in Best Picture or would most likely not, or would most likely be in Best Picture if there are none. Because again, like the Best Picture streak has it has prevailed in the past, like with 1917 beating The Lion King, even though The Lion King won 3 awards the most at the Visual Effects Society Awards that year, including the top prize, whereas 1917 didn't even win the only award it was nominated for, supporting visual effects, which it lost to The Irishman. But because 1917 was a stronger Best Picture contender as a whole, and there wasn't a clear frontrunner, they went for 1917 over The Irishman and The Lion King. Then you have 2018, where, none of the nominees were in Best Picture nominees, and everyone thought, well, Avengers Infinity War is going to win this. But then the winner turned out to be First Man, because out of all the films nominated, which was the one that was most likely in Best Picture? First Man. Then the previous year, Blade Runner 2049 had a better chance at Best Picture over War for the Planet of the Apes, even if War for the Planet of the Apes was a more deserving movie to win visual effects. And even 2016, like people were like, what, you thought The Jungle Book had a better chance at Best Picture than Deepwater Horizon? Yeah, it was it was so critically acclaimed, but at the same time, it got a lot of guild love. It got a lot of guild love everywhere. So I would assume The Jungle Book was closer to Best Picture than any of the other contenders. And then you had 2014, Interstellar versus Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Interstellar was more likely to be in Best Picture than Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was. And then, even more recently, 2020, the asterisk year for visual effects, where there was no competition. Tenet won visual effects at the Oscars because it was way more likely to be in Best Picture than any of the other films, especially the more deserving visual effects contender, The Midnight Sky. So, what do we do here? Which one is most likely in Best Picture? Because I have no clue. Again, Godzilla Minus One, sure, that is the most critically acclaimed film here, but would that get into Best Picture? I don't know. Because even the BAFTAs didn't like that film at all. They did not even longlist it in visual effects. Then you have The Creator, which should win. I feel like if there's any perfect outcome for this scenario right here that we have, The Creator should win. I'll accept Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, but overall, it should be The Creator that wins. Alright, that is the visual effects achievement of the year if we're not even going to do Spider-Verse. Which even then, if I were to put it up against Spider-Verse, I might put it over Spider-Verse. I don't know. It's really tough for me between Spider-Verse and The Creator. But the fact of the matter is, people are very mixed over The Creator. And if this were just the visual effects branch voting, then that wouldn't be an issue. Because the visual effects branch, they do generally go with the actual visual effects achievement. Visual effects people are more likely to look past the movie's quality and just look at the visual effects alone. But the fact of the matter is, that's not how it works when the entire Academy's voting. Because when the entire Academy's voting, most of the people voting for visual effects don't know anything about visual effects or really care about the technical achievement of it all. Even though they should, but that's just sadly not how it works. And I don't think they would want to go for the creator, especially since it wasn't even eligible for Best Picture. Like, that's the weird thing. The creator was not eligible for Best Picture. So do I really want to say it wins? If it were to win here, it would probably be the best example I can think of where the Oscars chose a movie for Best Visual Effects without any kind of Best Picture asterisk behind it. Because, sure, like there are movies that won visual effects that absolutely deserved it. Like Avatar: The Way of Water, Dune, like the first Avatar, Inception, Life of Pi. But those were all in Best Picture. If those movies were absolutely despised by people and still had that level of quality of visual effects, would they have still won? I don't know. And granted, the creator is not despised, like it's mostly positive reviews, but it's not by a lot. And again, the creator was just not even eligible for Best Picture. So, if the creator were to win, it would really be off of merit alone. And I would be happy about it, but I would be kind of shocked because they never really do that for visual effects. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, that also was very critically acclaimed, but at the same time, I don't know, would they really go for a Marvel movie in visual effects? I mean, I suppose Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, considering there is no frontrunner right now, we don't know what's happening, I guess it has the best chance out of any MCU movie to win a visual effects Oscar, but I don't know. Would they go for that? I just don't know. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, I would really hate it if this won visual effects because it's just doing the same stuff we've seen other Mission Impossible movies do. And not even in like a No Time to Die situation where I was wondering why that was a visual effects contender, but then I realized, oh wait, no, the visual effects were just completely seamless and yet were still crazy. Mission Impossible, from everything I could find, it's just like very just generic Mission Impossible visual effects. And if it were to win here, I would be upset if it won. But again, I don't know if they would do that. And so then that leaves me with Napoleon, which again, I don't want this to win visual effects. Granted, the visual effects were more impressive than I initially gave them credit for because I wasn't so sure what was going on. The visual effects breakdowns I saw were very, very impressive for what this was. But, and I guess in the shortlist that we had, I would have nominated it. But that's only because we didn't even have The Little Mermaid or Dungeons and Dragons shortlisted. Like, if those were shortlisted, I would not have nominated Napoleon. But the fact of the matter is, this did perform very well with nominations. It performed very, very well with nominations. At the very least, it got costume design, which is pretty good, and unexpectedly production design. And there's some people saying, but there's also the stat of, you win visual effects if you're also nominated for production design. I feel like that's more coincidental than anything. I feel like that is just more coincidental. I think the more important stat here is that Best Picture stat. Like, if you are a prestige film in the conversation for Best Picture, you're probably going to win visual effects over films that probably deserve it more. And I feel like Napoleon is that. Napoleon just has, it's directed by Ridley Scott. Granted, the reviews for it were not so good, but it got a lot of BAFTA nominations, including Best British Film, which granted there are 10 nominees in Best British Film, so of course it got in. And it still managed to get a lot of nominations over at BAFTA. So I feel, again, I don't want this to happen. I want it to be the creator. Do not get me wrong. The creator should win this. And if it won, it would be shocking because it would show that they chose it off of merit alone. But I don't think the Oscars are willing to do that. I don't think they're going to do something like that. I feel like they're just going to give Napoleon the award because it's most likely in Best Picture than any of the other contenders. And another thing I wanted to point out with Godzilla Minus One is that Godzilla Minus One, I don't think that's winning because the last time a movie won Best Visual Effects at the Oscars without a BAFTA nomination was all the way back in 1998 when I think it was The Fifth Element that won. No, it wasn't The Fifth Element. It was, okay, let me check. No, it was when Saving Private Ryan won at the BAFTAs, but the Oscar winner, What Dreams May Come, was not nominated. So that stat's been going back like since literally 25 years. So are we going to say that Godzilla Minus One is going to win Best Visual Effects at the Oscars despite not even getting nominated at BAFTA? Not even longlisted at BAFTA? So no. I think it is between the creator, Guardians, Mission Impossible, and Napoleon. And I think Napoleon wins because, again, it's just the most prestigious film here. I want the creator to win, but I can't deny the stat. Like, it's just too strong there. Sound. I think it's Oppenheimer. Again, luckily this is a very easy category to figure out. It's just going to be Oppenheimer all the way through. Original score, once again, Oppenheimer. If there was a number 2, it'd probably be Killers of the Flower Moon. But again, with Oppenheimer and how big it's performing right now, I don't see why it would lose steam like this. I just don't. Original song. This is admittedly another big race because What Was I Made For won the Golden Globe, and I'm Just Ken won the Critics' Choice Award. God. I want to say I'm Just Ken, because that's the deserving winner. But is it going to win? I don't know. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. So, God. But it is most recent, I guess. But it's like, it really depends on, like, are they going to want to go with What Was I Made For or I'm Just Ken? Like, are they going to want to do Billie Eilish again? Or are they going to do it, or are they going to do I'm Just Ken? God, I don't know. It really is tough. I guess they would like the idea of, like, you know, Ryan Gosling performing on stage, because that'd be funny. But then again, funny songs don't really do well at the Oscars all that much. Like Natu won, but again, that was a big thing that was going on, and it was sweeping. However, I think I'm just gonna have to say it's What Was I Made For. I want I'm Just Ken to win. It's the deserving winner, but I think it's just gonna be What Was I Made For. I feel like the Oscars would take that more seriously, I believe, in a sense. So, yeah. Animated feature film. Alright, this is tough between The Boy and the Heron and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Because once again, it's not a clear race. Boy and the Heron won the Golden Globe, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse won the Critics' Choice Award. Neither Spider-Verse nor Boy and the Heron have any other Oscar nominations. They both only have it here, which is really stupid because they probably should be in more categories. Because the Oscars hate animated movies and they just think it's just dumb kid stuff, which is stupid. But I think, because the BAFTAs are probably going to want to go with The Boy and the Heron. But PGA may go with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Actually, let me see how correlative the PGA for animated feature is. Alright, it seems like the PGA has only disagreed with the Oscars 4 times, and the last time they disagreed with the Oscars was the Lego Movie, which the Oscars didn't even nominate the Lego Movie. Wreck-It Ralph beat Brave at PGA. The Adventures of Tintin beat Rango at PGA, but Tintin wasn't even nominated at the Oscars. And Cars beat Happy Feet at the PGA. So really half of the times where, wait, did I say 5? Cars, Tintin, Wreck-It Ralph, the Lego Movie. Oh wait, no, it's not. Yeah, it's not 5. It's 4. They disagreed 4 times. So half of the times where they disagreed with the Oscars, it was because that movie wasn't even nominated at the Oscars. So do I really want to, I think I will still go with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I think I will still do that because, it just seems like the BAFTAs and the Oscars will, how many times, okay, let me look at the BAFTAs. Okay, I did, okay, this is interesting. The BAFTAs actually disagreed with the Oscars less. They disagreed with the Oscars with Klaus, because the Oscars gave it to Toy Story 4, and they disagreed again with the Lego Movie, but again, that's because the Lego Movie didn't really align Like, didn't even get nominated for the Oscar. Oh, and I'm pretty sure The Boy and the Heron is going to win the BAFTA. It's tough because the PGA didn't even nominate Klaus. They didn't even nominate Klaus. So it's like, but they still went with Toy Story 4. But again, you could also argue that's Toy Story. Like, Toy Story is such a big staple. Whereas here, we're talking about a Spider-Man movie competing with a Hayao Miyazaki movie. And overall, people just don't seem to be as thrilled with I don't know. It's tough because for every person that says that Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is worse than the first Spider-Verse, like not as good, there's also a lot of people that say that it's better than the first. So it's like, I don't know what to do here. Like, God. And it also depends on what's winning the, I don't know if the Annies really, like, correlate all that much with the Oscars, because, like, they will disagree with the Oscars a lot. Like, they disagreed when they chose Mitchell's vs. the Machines over Encanto, Klaus over Toy Story 4, what was it? How to Train Your Dragon over Toy Story 3, Kung Fu Panda over WALL-E. So they will disagree with the Oscars a lot. But it's just tough. Are the Oscars really going to go with Spider-Verse, or will they go with The Boy and the Heron? Actually, let me check Critics' Choice as well. Just like PGA, they disagreed with the Oscars 4 times. Because the last time they disagreed was Mitchell's vs. the Machines over Encanto. Then before that, the Critics' Choice didn't even nominate Klaus, so they just gave it the Toy Story 4 Lego Movie, that one again, but the Oscars didn't even nominate that. So it's like, do I really want to use that? Wreck-It Ralph beat Brave. They actually did. The Critics' Choice actually did pick Rango over Tintin, and then obviously Cars over Happy Feet. Man, this is really, really hard. This is really hard to figure out. Is Spider-Verse winning, or is The Boy and the Heron winning? Because again, but Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse did get score at BAFTA. It did get original score at BAFTA over The Boy and the Heron. But, I don't know, because even Isle of Dogs was getting a lot of score nominations, and yet Spider-Verse beat Isle of Dogs, or Into the Spider-Verse beat it. So is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse going to be powerful enough to take down The Boy and the Heron? Because, see, this is hard, man. There are so many races that could go so many different ways. Because BAFTA, overall, between BAFTA, Critics' Choice, and PGA, BAFTA disagrees with the Oscars less. They disagree with the Oscars the least out of these 3. But, are we, do I really, but I do think there's a chance that, they might pick The Boy and the Heron over Spider-Verse. Man, what do I do here? Because, and the interesting thing is, the Disney film Elemental, which shouldn't even be nominated here to begin with, is not the frontrunner at all. By any means, it's not a frontrunner. So is it going to be Boy and the Heron, or is it going to be Spider-Verse? My God. You know what? I think, I'm going to bite the bullet. I'm going to bite the bullet and say The Boy and the Heron may actually win Best Animated Feature. Because BAFTA disagrees with the Oscars less. And, yeah, sure, Spider-Man did pretty well with score. And granted, it could be Spider-Verse after all that wins. This is literally a coin flip. I don't know what's happening here. I think if Spider-Verse does win the BAFTA, I think it's easily winning the Oscar. If it doesn't win the BAFTA, I think it might just end up being The Boy and the Heron. I think it might just do... Man, I did not think that it would be this hard to figure out, but here we are. Animated short film. Since we're at the short films, I'm just gonna go with whatever is the top at Gold Derby. And I think for animated short film, the top contender is Letter to a Pig, so I'm just going to assume that's winning. Live action short film, The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. This is their opportunity to give Wes Anderson a best, or just an Oscar in general. So they're going to want to take that opportunity. Documentary short film. The ABCs of book banning, that's number one on Gold Derby, and the subject matter behind it, I'm assuming, is very, very topical for today, so there's that. And now we get to documentary feature film. Surprisingly, Beyond Utopia did not get nominated. They did not nominate Beyond Utopia. So, I'm going with 20 Days in Mariupol. I thought it was going to get an international feature nomination. I thought it was going to do that, but it just didn't. So, but regardless, I think it's going to be 20 Days in Mariupol. International feature film. The Zone of Interest. It's literally nominated for Best Picture. To my knowledge, there has never, ever, 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 ever been a film nominated for international feature film and Best Picture and lost international feature film. I don't think that's ever happened before. Now, if France did submit Anatomy of a Fall, then we'd have a race. I'd be like, ooh, what's happening here? But since France decided to not do that, I guess we just have to go with the Zone of Interest, which is just an easy category. So yeah, guys, those are my Oscar predictions, my winner predictions for February up until the Oscars. Again, I'm still going to do videos on, like, the BAFTAs, BAFTA predictions, PGA predictions, SAG predictions, reactions, all that stuff. Also, I'm going to be doing a live stream next week where I'm going to be talking about the 2018 Oscars, or technically 2019, but the movies of 2018, Roma versus Green Book. And not going to lie, I just found out something about YouTube where they're starting to allow creators to gift memberships. So might want to stick around for that live stream. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure you hit that subscribe button, because if you don't, no one will be able to predict the Oscars ever again.